Good to go? All right, it's Monday, December 4th at 7 o'clock, and I'm going to call the Stayton City Council meeting to order. Please join me in the flag salute. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. Quick note that Councilor Ort and Councilor Patty are both excused tonight, so the rest of the council is in attendance. And with that, is there any additions to the agenda? Julia?
No.
Is there any declarations of ex-party contact, conflict of interest, bias, etc.? Okay. It's an opportunity for public comment, and does anyone have public comment outside of the public hearing tonight that they want to address the council on? Nope. So, Mr. Lucas, you're going to speak during the public comment for the agenda item, correct? Thank you. All right, with that, we go to consent agenda. What does the council wish to do for the consent agenda?
Yeah, I'll move to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Seconded.
Okay, it's been moved and second to accept the consent agenda as submitted. And the items, just for the sake of the audience, the consent agenda consists of November 20th City Council work session minutes, the November 20th City Council regular session minutes, and resolution number 1080, which is the reappointment of members of the Parks and Recreation Board. So any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. That leaves us with the presentations. Julia, any presentations?
There are no presentations this evening.
Okay, thank you. That leaves us with the public hearing. And before we start the public hearing, I need to read this disclosure. And I'm going to do that. And the public hearing tonight is on resolution number 1079. Good evening. My name is Brian Quigley. I am the City of Stayton Mayor, and I will be presiding over this hearing. This is the time and place set for the public hearing in the matter of a request to vacate a 6-foot wide pedestrian easement on the northeast boundary of 1479 North Evergreen Avenue, adjacent to 493 West 1st Street. The hearing is now open. While there is no Oregon revised statute regarding vacation of pedestrian easements, the city developed a process for transparency in the public good. Abutters within 400 feet were notified of the public hearing with 20 days notice. All testimony, arguments, and evidence received during this public hearing must be directed toward disapproval criterion or to such other rule, law, regulation, or policy which you believe to apply in this case. If you have documents, maps, or letters you wish to have considered by this body, they must formally be placed in the record of this proceedings. To do that, either before or after you speak, please submit them electronically to city staff. Prior to the conclusion of this hearing, any participant may request an opportunity to present additional evidence, arguments, or testimony regarding the application involved here. Continuances may take the form of holding an additional public hearing with oral testimony allowed, or may consist of holding the evidentiary record open for a period of time designated by the city for submittal from the public of the written evidence. At this time, I would ask the audience if there are any objections to the notice that was provided in this case. I hear none. To the jurisdiction of this body to hear and consider this case. I hear none. Are there any declarations of conflict or of interest, ex-party contact, or bias by any members of this commission or council? I hear none. All right, with that, I think that's it, right? With that, we'll do the staff report. Or did I get it all? Hold on a second. If you are providing testimony during the public hearing, please state your name and address for the record. As a participant in the hearing, the city is required to notify you of the final results of this process. We are now ready for the staff introduction. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. So this is for an applicant, a resident initiated this proposal. As we stated, he lives at 1479 North Evergreen Avenue, and on his border is a six wide easement that goes from the street, Evergreen Avenue, to the back of St. Mary's Regis High School. This pedestrian easement has a long history. Back in 1997, there was an owner, Charles Kammick, who provided the easement to the city. He later on sold, that was in 87, he sold the property in 1988, where there were difficulties with the owner, and they had issues with motorcyclists driving on this pedestrian easement. So they came to the city at the time, back in the 80s, and asked that they build a fence, a sidewalk, and a post so that people can't ride a motorcycle across it. They also actually asked that their property be given to the city at one point, but the city decided at the meeting that they would build the sidewalk, put the control post in, and that they would put fences in, but that the owners would pay for half and the other side would also pay for half. So that's been in existence all this time, and I have to note that there is also a utility easement right over this pedestrian easement, which has a stormwater pipe, a 12-inch stormwater pipe that will have to remain. I think my recommendation is that if it's considered a nuisance, that the town vacate this easement. But I don't have institutional knowledge here in Stayton. You do, and the applicants do. So if it's a nuisance, then it's really on them to say that it's a nuisance. The city, on the other hand, has spent money on this pedestrian easement. I believe that the applicant about a year ago came to ask for the easement to be vacated, and it was stated that let's give it another year, and he came back a year later if it still was an issue. So I think that's a summary of my staff report, and if you have any questions.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Jennifer, can you state your name for the record?
Oh, sure. It's Jennifer Siciliano. Do I say where I live in Scioto?
No, just tell us what role you hold within the city.
Okay, I'm the Community and Economic Development Director
Okay,
for
thank you.
Stayton.
All right, thank you for that report, and we'll go with questions from the council.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Sims.
So Jennifer, if we do vacate the easement, are we responsible, is the city responsible for tearing up the concrete, taking out the fence there?
I think that would be something else to talk about. Then if you want to vacate it, what do you do with the fencing and the sidewalk?
Okay.
I'm not. And the other caveat is that it has a utility
Right,
easement over it as well, so you don't really want something built over that.
Okay.
And just for clarification, the utility easement will remain. The proposal isn't to remove the utility easement, it's only to remove the pedestrian access ability.
Anybody else? Jennifer, you did I appreciate the historical perspective on this. It went all the way back to what, 1980,
87.
80 something, 88? So you can see it was a contentious point back that far back. So, and there was some discussion, obviously, with the council and the mayor back then, what to do, and you can see where it's settled today. So what does that pathway lead to right now? The dead end?
I believe that Regis put up a fence
Right.
in the back so that it actually can't even be used as a pedestrian easement right now. And because they're public private property, they have every right to do that.
Right, so right now we have what's the length of that thing, 15 feet or something, maybe more?
Yeah, that's just
It just goes to nowhere. And it's basically caged on both sides by the fence and the pole in the center.
Yeah, and it looks like, looking at this, it's about 120 feet
Yeah.
long, yeah.
So I don't know, just from my standpoint, what practical use that serves right now for the city. Outside of the utility easement, which will remain.
And if I can add, I mean, I think the reason why a year ago the recommendation was let's wait and see is that Regis had just recently closed that off for access and fenced it, and there, it wasn't certain that that would be the intention long term, and it sounds like it is. And I believe there's a letter in your packet that verifies that. So the original intent was pedestrian access to the school, and now they're saying that they don't
Correct.
want that.
Councilor McDonald?
I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, the utility easement, what sort of access is required for that utility easement? And I'm just curious kind of which way the pipe runs.
It runs right under the pedestrian easement, pretty
Under that
much on the
sidewalk.
line. So the pedestrian easement is 6 feet from the property line, and the utility easement is over both properties, over the line.
Gotcha.
So,
And in general, an easement is the easement, right? You need to have an area wide enough to do what you need to do, and so you don't need to be a certain distance from the easement. I mean, that would certainly be ideal, but you don't need to be away from the easement, but you can't build a permanent structure within the easement. And if someone did, well, they shouldn't, but even if someone did, like landscaping, fences, those types of things are within the easement that can be torn up by whoever has the easement and access to it. And then it has to be put back.
Right. Councilor Giglio, anything?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think I'm just agreeing pretty much with what's been said. It seems pretty straightforward to me. I don't see any real benefit of having it, and so yeah, I'm
Okay.
anxious to see what the
I do have a
applicant
question.
says.
So just I just
I
want to
don't
make
have
sure
any
that we don't get
questions.
into, we still have testimony, so
correct.
not deliberation yet.
I do have a question from Councilor Patty. He asked, would there be any impact to the master transportation plan? And if so, will it need to be updated?
I believe that has to do with trails and pedestrian pathways, and I did not see that as a trail
Okay, fair enough.
noted in the plan.
Okay. Any other questions from council? Okay. We'll go with testimony then.
Okay.
Thanks, Jennifer. Testimony from Mr. Lucas, right? Or just,
I don't know if you have any green card.
I do, but I'm just saying, under testimony, does that public comment?
Yes, that's
Okay.
public comment.
All right, Mr. Lucas, come on up. I'm sorry, Mr. Lunsky. Luke, come on up.
How's it going? Yeah, I was just coming to that way if you guys had any questions about it. Obviously, I know the utility easement's got to stay. I don't ever plan to put any buildings or build on it or anything like that. And then the other question was about the fence removal, and I plan to just take care of all that personally.
Can you give us your name and address again,
Yeah,
please? for the record?
Lucas Lunsky, 1479 North Evergreen Avenue.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Luke?
I know it's outlined in the letter that you provided as well, but I was just wondering if you want to just provide just like a brief summary of like the nuisances that you've encountered.
Yeah, for sure. I've lived there for 5 years, and we have had, numerous people walking up and down late at night. We find beer cans. We found a needle a couple weeks ago down the pathway. Trash. We've caught teenagers having sex in the pathway before midday, and it's just become a thing like that. I got a 3-year-old who runs around our yard, and the last thing I need is for him coming up holding a needle that somebody shoved through the fence because they were trying to hide it or get away. And so that's, and talking to Regis, that's the whole reason they wanted to gate it off, is they were tired of those people going through to their property as well. And so I did get a letter from them sent that they never plan to open it again, that they like to keep it closed off, and that's why they're fencing in their whole campus. And so it's just those kind of reasons now that it is just a dead-end area with 2 escape places that somebody can hide. And that's why I think it'd be better off just to vacate it and make it look like there was never a path there.
Thank you.
Thanks, Luke.
Okay.
Any other questions from council as a whole? Okay,
All right. Thank you.
you bet. Staff summary, Jennifer, again?
So to summarize, it's just for the vacation of the pedestrian easement, the utility easement would remain, and then we heard from the applicant that he would take care of the fence, and we would still have access to the storm drain. Do you want to?
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor Giglio.
I do have one question. So where would the new property line be between those 2 properties now?
Okay, so the property line would remain the same, and it would be, so the whole easement, the pedestrian easement is on the applicant's property.
Okay, so it's already on the applicant's
It's already
property.
on the
Okay.
applicant's property.
Great.
So,
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I had a question too.
Councilor, go ahead.
So it looked like they took it off the tax records for that property. I thought I saw it in here at some.
they asked to have their it taken off, but the city I just was thorough in my explaining everything, but the city council decided not to do
Okay, all
that.
right, I misunderstood that. Okay, that answers that question.
Mr. Mayor,
Councilor McDonald.
it was probably mentioned, but what do we say, whose responsibility would it be to remove the sidewalk then, the actual pavement on the ground?
Just because we vacate the easement doesn't mean that we have to do anything with the easement, so it could stay there, or it could be removed.
Okay.
And then my driveway's already concreted up to it. And then, like I said, I'll remove all my fencing. That way it's just me and my neighbor's fence, and then I'll pave across the front.
I got you. Okay, thank you.
So just for the record, and for anybody that is listening at some point in the future and wants to know what we said, the applicant indicated that he was just going to keep it concrete.
One last chance. Any other questions? Jennifer, you good?
Yes.
All right, with that, we'll close the hearing. And we'll talk about council deliberation.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Sims.
I mean, I don't see any purpose for this easement at this point. I mean, it just seems a little redundant and doesn't seem necessary, so I'm definitely on board for, for the resolution.
Is you gonna, okay.
Yeah.
Councilor McDonald.
This might be for Luke, but that the fence that Regis installed in the back there is pretty low. It's like 4-foot fence.
No, the gate in the back is a 6-footer.
Okay. It's just, that's the one there continue to be fence hopping issues back there, even if they're closed out.
Just about putting a little bit more cover over that fence.
Yeah.
So that way it doesn't, and I'll post up signs.
Maybe plant some of those same shrubs that are there or whatever. Okay.
All right.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. All right, well, Counselor?
Yeah, I just was going to say I agree. Yep.
Okay, well, someone want to take some action?
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I move to, sorry, forget what it is. I was on the wrong page, sorry.
1079.
What do you say?
1079.
Yeah, I move to adopt resolution 1079 as presented, vacating the existing 6-foot wide pedestrian easement.
Seconded.
Okay, moved and second to approve resolution 1079. Further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Having said that, there being no further public testimony, sorry, I should have said this earlier. There being no further public testimony, I close the public hearing. I'll do it again, and that's that, right? Isn't there another section? Or that's it? Because it was unanimous, we're good.
And it's a resolution, so
Correct. Thank you.
you're good anyways.
That puts us to general business, resolution number 1081, budget appropriation adjustments for fiscal year 23-24. Staff report, James?
Good evening. For the record, James Brand, Finance Director for the city. We have 2 budget changes today. The first is ARPA funds. This is the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021. During that year, Stayton received $921,222. And when the current budget was created for fiscal year 24, at that time there was no agreed upon way to spend these funds, so it was not appropriated. And since then we've had a number of meetings about how to allocate the funds, and 2 projects were identified. One was for wastewater and one for stormwater. And recently discussions were had about if we could add more funding to the wastewater side of the project. But Public Works staff considered this and decided that we couldn't guarantee that we could spend the money by the time that we need to obligate these funds. So the previous amounts are presented before you to allocate $300,000 to the stormwater projects and $621,222 to sewer. The second budget adjustment is related to a budget transfer that was increasing $300,000 from the general fund to the street fund, actually increasing that from $300,000 to $500,000. That was done during the budget committee process. And so that those additional $200,000 was moved in the budget, but there was a slight mistake in the paperwork. So while the cash was moved, the expenditure allocation was not increased in the street fund. So this budget adjustment is to increase the street fund budget so they can spend those funds. So that's $200,000 increase there. Those are the 2 adjustments, and I'd welcome any questions you have.
Okay, here's another opportunity for public comment. Is there anybody that has public comment? Doesn't sound like it. So council discussion. Any questions for Mr. Brandt? No? Sounds like you're off the hook, James.
Okay.
Council decision.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, I think we've talked about this quite enough. I think that this is a good consensus that the council came up with, and I move to approve Resolution 1081 as presented.
I'll second.
It's been moved in second to approve resolution number 1081 as we discussed tonight. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 3-0. Communication from city staff.
Well, first of all, I knew this was going to be a short meeting, but I didn't realize you guys were going to be so efficient. Secondly, I want to congratulate Melanie on her, not just her second meeting, but her first meeting alone, and she seems to have survived. But really, the only other thing that I have to share is that we're formally launching and announcing this week the If I Were Mayor contest. We're actually, and I don't know, Mayor, you may want to speak to this more than me, but we're collaborating with the cities of Almsville and Sublimity, as well as Turner, the mayors, to hopefully get more input. So we're working on a campaign and working to schedule the mayor and mayors of, so Sublimity at Stayton High School, as well as potential mayors at Regis High School and St. Mary's to go and share the If I Were Mayor contest information. And we have flyers both in Spanish and English. So we're excited about that.
Yeah, it's a great opportunity, I think, for the schools, the local schools. It's an opportunity put on by the Oregon Mayors Association to really generate some civic interest and see what the kids think about what they envision their cities to be like in the future. And there's some prizes for the best entries. And with my with my other mayors, my co-mayors in Almsville, Turner, and Sublime, we were decided to join together to try to see if we can generate some interest out in the canyon. So I encourage everyone that's interested in it to take a look at the flyer, watch for it, and participate. It'll be fun.
That's all I have.
Cool. Council, anybody have any questions? Any comments? Councilor Sims.
What age group is that for?
So multiple age groups. So there's a poster contest for grades 4 and 5, an essay contest for grades 6 through 8, and then a digital media presentation for grades 9 through 12. And then the prizes are high school $150 prize, middle school $100 prize, and elementary school a $50 prize. And then whoever wins from each local city, they get entered into the statewide contest where there's up to a $500 prize for first place.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That'd be a good one for the teen center.
Yeah.
Take over there.
Oh, absolutely. We can give you flyers.
And hopefully we can have a finalist from this area show up at the mayor's meeting in Cape Falls this year in July or August. So it'd be fun. Anybody else? I just want to highlight one thing. Julia, myself, and Jennifer, we attended, or we were invited to, we hosted the Mid-Valley Association of Realtors in this building on Thursday. They had their training, and they had asked Stayton to host and Stayton present to those folks what's going on in their community. And so we had ourselves, Almsville, and the mayor of Detroit present. And I want to tell you that it was really an opportunity for us to showcase what's happening here. The attendees of that meeting really found value in what we shared. We shared really the challenges of Stayton, the progress of Stayton, some of the future of what we anticipated looking like, as well as the other communities do the same thing. And so I think that I want to tell Julia and Jennifer, it was a great job doing that. I think I had a lot of fun listening to the other cities talking about the same struggles that we have and their ideas on how we accomplish stuff and get through it. So good morning and fun times, and really interesting from my perspective on what the real estate market looks like. I had no idea that that takes place like that. So pretty interesting.
Mr. Mayor?
Councilor Giglio.
One other thing I wanted to bring up was the, I think this acronym is SMAC, but the small municipalities, I was in the last weekly update. Yeah, I just wanted to know if anyone had taken a look at that and thoughts on hearing a presentation or something on that.
Yeah, good question. Councilor Giglio. Councilor Sims.
Yeah, I looked through it. That looked pretty interesting. I mean, it'd be a good presentation, I think, for council. I thought it was good.
I agree.
So, have you had a chance to look at it, Councilor McDowell? So, Councilor Ord expressed the same consideration. So, sounds like we have enough to offer to ask Mr. Tate to come give a presentation. So, we will put that on the agenda for sometime in the future. Outside of that, that's all I got, unless anyone has anything else.
Did you want to mention, because I failed to, the meeting that was held on Tuesday night of last week?
Oh, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Forgot. So thanks to the Chamber and ourselves, the Chamber was actually the one instrumental in organizing the entire thing, but they hosted an informational session about what's going on at the cannery at Snow Peak Brewery on Tuesday of last week. And so the new owners of the facility, as well as the real estate investment group, came and really gave an overview about what the future looks like for that facility, how they hope to develop it. They talked about their current projects, their past projects of success. It's basically 600,000 square feet. If you guys haven't been in there, it's gigantic. They're currently in a phase of a first $7 million phase of trying to remodel, for the lack of a better word, but you'll see the difference in the painting on the building and whatnot. But we had a good turnout. There was probably, I don't know, 30 to 40 people there, and a lot of good questions, a lot of insightful questions, a lot of good answers from the development group. I really think they're looking from a standpoint of injecting the economy in Stayton by what their process is going to be. I think they have one of the tenants already landed, right? They talked about it.
Sorry, yes, one of the tenants, Marine Wear or
Yeah, I
something
can't remember
like
the
that,
name of the actual company, but.
is signed up, as well as, it sounds like some others either very close or signed up.
Yes, yeah.
So, and then I think they said that they're hoping to be leased out within 6 months to a year. It's going to take them a year to really get fully
Yep.
up and ready for everybody, but they're hoping to be leased out. And they've had a lot of interest, which is really exciting.
Yeah, really much so. So look for things to happen over there that's big. There's also a component of housing that goes along with that, so watch for that in the future. Am I missing anything? Is that it?
That's all I remember.
Yeah, it was a good meeting, and so thanks to the Chamber for putting that together, and thanks for Carmel for being inclusive of all of us and having us there, and it was a good opportunity. And there will be, at some point, another opportunity by those folks when they have the facility able to be accessed. Right now, because of the construction, they can't have anybody come site. So at some point, there might be an on-site visit where they come in and showcase the place. So that's that. Last opportunity, anybody? Okay, with that, we're gonna adjourn.